Hello YouTube! So today we are going to attach the top of our step stool to our step stool. So with that said, let's get to it. So what we want to do is we want to line up our step stool top with a 3/4 overhang and equal overhang on either side. Alright, so the easiest way to do that, we set our combination square to 3/4 of an inch. And then bring our workpiece up and check that either side is the same distance from the edge. So it's good here, and it's good here. Right? Now the overhang, we want it to be equal, so right now we're at 3/4 on this side. And on the opposite side, it never really happens. That's actually at 3/4 of an inch. So we actually have good alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out the camera. And I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press down on my workpiece and I'm going to make a very small bracket in one corner and another one in the opposite. And what that does, so I can zoom in on you guys. Is it creates a alignment source so that when I go to put glue and I go to screw my step stool top down, I have somewhere to align my top to as well. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my cordless drill, my hardware, angle driver, bottle of glue. We're going to start actually assembling this. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to spread glue on the top edge of my workpiece, just enough so that it doesn't squeeze out all over the place, but enough to just help hold it down. Because we're going to glue and screw the top down together to make it a stronger bond. I'm also going to just gently clean up any glue marks I see on this. There are some scratches from storage, so I'm just going to clean that up real quick. But once that's done, we'll start screwing this down. So what I've done is I've just quickly cleaned off the top parts of the step stool, making sure there's no dust, no glue, nothing that would impede the top from being attached. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spread glue from a 1/4 inch in front of this screw hole, going all the way around the perimeter back to this other side here. All right. So again, the glue is just going to be an aid to help hold the structure together. It is not the primary agent we're going to bond the top to. So we're not just gluing the top on and leaving it. We're going to do a glue plus screw. So glue and screw. So with that said, let's get to it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread it back so I can control the squeeze out on the piece. So I don't want anything to go out to the side. If it does, it's okay, but I'm just trying to prevent or mitigate as much as I can by spreading it back over the workpiece. All right. Now I'm going to slide my top over here. And then line up with those two L shapes, corners. All right, once I'm aligned, and now I'm going to start screwing it down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to create an X shape. So I'm going to do this corner, then this support, then this corner, then this support, just to press it down so it doesn't shift on me. If I did everything in a line, it's possible it could slowly start to shift out of alignment. So I'm just going to go in different directions in order to get this to go in. Alright. So that's one. Check my alignment before I make the next screw. So I did slip a little bit out of alignment. So now I'm going to come across diagonally from that, this hole over here. Place it in. And there we go. So I'm just going to keep going around the edge as I'm going to keep going around putting more screws in, and then I'll change the adapter out for my angle driver so I can drive from the inside of the step stool. So with that said, let's get to it. Another thing I like to do for novices or people who've just started getting into woodworking, when you're driving a square bit or a Phillips bit screw, I like to put my hand directly in line with the drive shaft so I can put enough pressure straight down. Over time you'll figure out the best technique, but for me, I like to put my hand directly in line with the shaft, and then when I go to drive, I don't have any slip-ups. The other thing too, and this is just how I developed, when I squeeze the trigger, I squeeze with my middle finger, because I find that if I have my pointer finger straight, I have more control over the drill as I'm driving. You can do it the old school way, the other way, which is just use your pointer finger, but I find this is a lot more stable, especially when I'm doing a lot of, or a large quantity of screws. Now, when I'm screwing it, I want to screw it so that the head of the screw is just barely touching the bottom arch of the pocket hole. I don't want to go all the way through, because then I can actually plunge through my top. So I'm just going to line that up. And then once it contacts, I stop. I don't want to drive it all the way through. There we go. So now we're going to start working on the bottom. Now you may notice that the drill I was using for the first part of the video were two different types of impactors. All right, these basically when you pull the trigger, all right, and it runs into resistance, it has a little hammering function, and it will hammer down on the hardware. All right. Now, when you are using an angle driver like this one, you can't use an impactor because you can actually grind the gears in the transmission. So when you're driving hardware in a cramped space, you're going to need to use a standard drill as you're driving the hardware. It's going to be a little tough, but that's the only way you can do it without destroying your own chuck. So with that said, let's get to it. So what I like to do is I like to press the hardware or the screws into the holes so I don't have to fiddle around with them while I'm using the angle driver. Now, come in at the top, and I would line up and drive it down. Of course. So now I'm going to demonstrate the step stool. So what's nice is having this large platform on top gives me a lot more stability when I'm trying to reach for items that are outside my reach in the workshop or in my home. I have a lot of working space so I can reach off to the sides without having to worry about readjusting the step stool. Right? Now this we could call as done, but the original design calls for a drawer in the center. So that's where we're going to go for next week. We're going to actually start building the floating runners and the drawer that goes in this step stool so that we can finish the process of creating our step stool as was designed in the beginning of this course. So with that said, I hope everyone's staying safe and you guys are enjoying this wonderful step stool project. With that said, have a great week. Bye.